Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to another episode of Let's Talk Fantasy Football. I am here. I am your host, Nick Walsh, and I am here with the wonderful Vinny Gonzalez. What's up, Vinny?
Hey Walsh, nothing much, man. What's going on?
Not much, dude. We just finished week 3 of the preseason. That is widely considered, and I think correctly considered, the most important week, really, for our purposes, because it's sort of dress rehearsal week. Not every team really did that this year, but if teams are going to have one game where it's the first team offense for the whole first half, and you really get a glimpse of what they could look like this year, this is the week. So it's an important week to learn lessons from. It's an important week to watch some games and try and figure out what preconceived notions we had over the summer that are completely wrong, and what ones might be right. So. Fun stuff. What are you thinking here? What's your opinion on that third week? Are you trying to change a lot of your opinions? Because I feel like I'm learning new information, and then it's making my opinions just like more and more of a mess,
Yeah, I was gonna say this is kind of the part where like everything I've been building up to all summer just like crumbles into one day, and then I just kind of like fall back on all my previous thoughts and concerns and all that shit, and it just kind of all just meets in this like perfect storm of horribleness. So then you kind of got to weed through it. So yeah, it's like oh, I thought this guy was going to be here and this guy's doing this, but it turns out you're wrong or you're right, and it affects pretty much everything. And hopefully you're going into your draft this weekend or next weekend so you can figure that shit out.
Yeah, it's really hard to figure out what's noise here and what's like actually real, and it's also really hard to adjust to the fact that like these opinions that we've spent months and months and months looking through statistics and trying to think of, like reasons why this guy's going to be good, reasons why this guy's going to get playing time, like can all be thrown out the window with like one whim of a coach. It's just, it's very difficult because we've had rumblings and reasons to move guys up and down draft boards, that sort of thing. But now it's just like, oh shit, like this guy's like 4th on the depth chart. I thought he was going to be 1st. Like all of a sudden my entire draft board is wrong. So it's fun. It's also hectic. It's also really stressful, but that's if you really, really enjoy this stuff, I think that's the fun part here. Yeah. So guys, I'd like to say before we go any further, Let's Talk Fantasy Football is sponsored by No Halftime. The No Halftime app isn't your typical fantasy sports service. You get to create one-on-one fantasy matchups, and you can use that code LTFF for a free sign-up bonus. So this week, again, guys, we're talking preseason week 3 almost exclusively, as well as some news this year just in the past couple of days in terms of signings as well as injuries. There's unfortunately been a lot of pretty serious injuries that have an impact on your fantasy league and your fantasy teams. I already have 2 guys out on a team that I drafted, so that's pretty unfortunate. But you know what? We persevere, I suppose.
Technically, I drafted that team.
No, you're right. That's true. So for the backstory here, you guys, in case you care at all, I had tickets to Mets Giants in San Francisco. I live in San Francisco. I'm a Mets fan. I also had a fantasy draft, and I sent rankings and specific instructions on which round to take which positions to Vinny, and he did the draft for me. He did the live draft for me based completely on my rankings and instructions. And the team actually ended up really good. I was really pumped. But yeah, Dion Lewis and Bruce Ellington are both gone now. So anyway, let's get into this nude. Let's get into this. I almost just said, let's get into this nude Vinny. Jeez. All right, let's get into this news. You want to take the lead on some of this? I'll let you talk a little bit. I've been talking too much.
Is it just because you slipped on nude, Walsh? It's okay.
Yeah, I gotta relax a little bit now. Go for it.
Take a cool down. So the big news for today, we're recording this August 30th, for reference. Teddy Bridgewater goes down hard at practice, non-contact injury. Apparently it was like really bad. The ambulance went out to meet him, and he is done for the season with a torn ACL and a dislocated knee. This is really bad for the Vikings.
Yes, I agree with that. It's not. I mean, so here's the thing. I think they can rebound as a team, and it's not like Teddy was huge in terms of fantasy this year, because now they're just going to try and slow the ball down, play defense, and run it with AP even more. So it might make AP even more valuable than he was previously. But it's really a shame because Teddy really he's been looking great in preseason. He's a young quarterback on the rise, and you always hate to see that. Also, I think he was really showing a connection with Diggs in the preseason, and I think that may be a bit of a downturn for Stephon Diggs.
Yeah, it's got to knock his draft stock down a little bit. And Laquan Treadwell, you could probably almost take him off your draft boards, I think, at this point, because now it's just kind of reaching that critical point where it's not looking too good. Like there's not much upside anymore.
Yeah, absolutely. Our next quarterback injury news is one that really, I know, breaks your heart, breaks my heart. It really sucks. Tony Romo breaks a bone in his back. He's out for 6 to 10 weeks. Tony's one of our favorite guys, just a great quarterback. He's like third all time in adjusted yards per attempt. That's how efficient that guy's been in his career.
He's got a ton of passing records, and it's like a shame no one, like, everyone just does that, like, oh, Cowboys suck, Romo sucks, like that whole it's just awful because Romo's great.
Yeah, absolutely. But now we got Dak Prescott in starting at quarterback. That's interesting for a couple different reasons, and we'll kind of get into that when we talk about the Cowboys Seahawks game a little bit later. Mm-hmm. Bruce Ellington is on IR. That sucks. He's a guy that I've been talking up. If you're a fan of the podcast, you know that. I'm going to have to drop him from one of my teams. I'm not looking forward to that. I don't know. You got any opinion there?
I wasn't really a huge fan. I was more leaning towards Torrey Smith is going to be sweet, which might happen now more so with Bruce Ellington out.
Okay. Yeah, no, that's fair. that's another one we'll talk about when we get down to the 49ers game, because I think there's a couple weird things to talk about there.
True.
But Ellington on IR, take him off your draft boards. What can you do? Ben Watson, is he out for the year, or is he just out for a little bit?
I think he's just out for a little bit, but they have so many tight ends there. It's just going to be like next guy up, I think, because they have like Max Williams, Dennis Pitta is somewhere lurking around with his fake hip.
Crockett Gilmore.
It's up to those three guys to fight for the roster spot, I think, at this point. Ben Watson is done for the year.
He is? Okay.
Yes, indeed. So, yeah. Just have to wait and see who wins that battle.
Yeah, from what I saw, just because of injury situations, Pitta and Williams probably aren't going to play week 1, so Gilmore is likely going to be the guy week 1. Still not really something you want to go after. And then in that same game, after running really well, actually, Kenneth Dixon got hurt. He's out, I think, 6 weeks at this point. So it's Kenneth Dixon had a chance to really get a role in that offense potentially if he outplayed guys like Forsett and Terrence West. That doesn't appear to be the case anymore. Take him off your radar until potentially late in the season. Ladarius Green to the PUP list. This fucking sucks. He was a guy I had been going after very hard, in that 8th to 9th round range. He's on the PUP list now. That means at least 6 weeks out. Does it intrigue you with Jesse James at all, or is this just kind of like another tight end off the board that we wish was there?
Yeah, just another tight end off the board. After the news came out that he might retire and the constant headaches, he started to not get drafted as it was, since tight end's pretty deep. But yeah, it's a shame because they're in a high-powered offense, and that could have been a gold mine. Yeah,
and again, I think we'll talk about it with the Pittsburgh offense, but Ben now doesn't have two guys in Bryant and Green who we thought were really going to be key cogs in this offense, so that makes a difference. Trevor Siemian named week 1 starter for the Broncos. Does that move the needle at all, really, besides, just kind of okay? We'll see how he does.
Yeah, I think it leaves pretty much everybody where they were. And, we'll talk about it later, but he looked pretty good, especially this week. Didn't look bad at all.
He actually did look pretty decent. It looked like he really got in a rhythm in the second quarter of that game. Yep. And then Joey Bosa signs his rookie deal. Woo, happy
Yeah.
day for Joey Bosa. And then finally, Stephen Ridley signs with the Colts. I'm not sure how much bearing this has. Robert Turbin and Josh Ferguson haven't really done anything to impress in the preseason as backups. So maybe Ridley can carve out a role if like Frank Gore gets hurt. But
Like we were talking before the podcast, and just like the Colts line is so bad that I think it's going to be hard for their running backs to have value.
yeah, that's a very, very good point. All right, man. So that does it for the news. Let's get right into the preseason week 3 games. We're going to break down some things that we thought. I spent a lot of time watching the first half of every preseason game over the past couple of days. I've missed sleep and I've missed sleep and been very drowsy at work because of staying up to watch these games. And it's all for you guys. I hope you appreciate it. No, it's all for me. That's what it's really for. All right, Falcons and Dolphins, first game here. Interesting stuff on the Dolphins offense, I thought. They really, like, I didn't really know what to expect out of Adam Gase's offense. It's a lot of quick drops, a lot of 3-step drops, a lot of short passes. And to me, like, how did they not figure this out with Tannehill years ago? Like, he's always struggled throwing deep. And it's just it's a situation where I feel like I'm starting to get hyped on Tannehill as a potential guy who could really come up into like that streamer quarterback starter conversation. Do you have any opinion on that?
I'm gonna stay away for the moment. I'm having like Chip Kelly flashbacks, like it's like this new offense and you're just gonna get all excited about it. But I feel like Tannehill's been in the same range you were kind of just talking about, like potential streamer, potential could make your way into the lineup. And I think that might happen like throughout the season, but not anybody I would draft right now. Just kind of see how they start doing, because they still have some problems, I think. So I'm just gonna kind of stay away and see where it winds up.
Yeah, they definitely still have problems. One of those was the running game. Ajayi doesn't look great at all.
Yes.
Foster actually looked very good.
That surprised me a lot. He looked like really good.
He was making some cuts, and I mean, like, I know it's the preseason, it's one game, but like, Arian Foster in his peak years was the best running back in the league. Like this isn't some schlub in like the back of his career. This is Arian Foster, and if he can regain some form that he had a couple of years ago, that's like really tempting, and I'm starting to slightly buy into it. Am I stupid for that?
Nah, I mean, I'm still leaving him where he is. It's just I hate people less for taking him. I'm just like, okay, that's a little more justified now.
All right, yeah, that's a fair take. That's a fair take. That's probably where I should be, but I find myself going slightly past that, where I'm like, Marion Foster.
I'm trying to be strong, man.
I can kind of work with it. I could maybe make that happen. But also on that Dolphins offense, I just want to mention Kenny Stills is running ahead of DeAndre Parker. It doesn't really matter that much because they run a ton of 3 wide receiver. Let me take a look. I have the snap counts here in my notes. So snap counts with Ryan Tannehill on the field were Kenny Stills 45, Jarvis Landry 44, DeAndre Parker 38. So Stills is running in 2 wide receiver sets, but Parker is still on the field a lot because they're going to run a ton of 3 wide receiver. I still think it makes Parker undraftable where he's going, and it makes Stills an interesting late round flyer.
I can agree with that. I was never big on Parker. Like he clearly has like the upside potential, but where he's getting drafted is not cool at all. So pump the brakes on that, and yeah, give Kenny Stills a little love in the late rounds. Check that out.
Yeah, it's some interesting stuff. I guess in terms of the rest of that game, we can talk about the Falcons a little bit, but there's not really too much to talk about. Tevin Coleman was in on the second series there. He kind of, was it would be Freeman for a couple snaps, Coleman for a couple snaps, that sort of thing. They both got work in the red zone. They both got work on third down. I continue to be kind of high Tevin Coleman as a guy who like is draftable at his range just for upside, and continue to be a little bit lower on Freeman than most people.
Yeah, that's completely fair. I think the only other takeaway from this game is Julio Jones kind of suffered a little injury, but he should be fine. I know he was out of practice, but I'm sure it's just precautionary. And
Yeah.
oh, sorry, go for it.
No, they said if like it was a regular season game, he would have come back.
Right.
So
For what it's worth, yes.
Yeah.
And of course, it wouldn't be a Falcons red zone opportunity without Matt Ryan throwing a fat pick. They did not look good in the red zone, which was one of their huge problems last year. So still the same old Falcons, still Matt Ryan.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's move on here to Cowboys Seahawks. Dak is the name of the game here for the Cowboys because, as we mentioned before, Tony Romo is out 6 to 10 weeks. So now we're working with Dak as the starter. A couple things I noticed watching this game were, one, he does not give a fuck throwing the ball. That dude will throw it up. Like he'll drop back and be like, hell yeah, I'm making this throw, which like is concerning. But like for like, if you're like a Cowboys fan and most of their game is based on like control the ball, run the ball, that sort of thing. Mm-hmm. But like for fantasy, like Terrence Williams is known as like a deep threat. He's not afraid to throw the ball deep to him. And like when he sees Dez singled up on a guy, he's going to be like, hell yeah.
Going to Dez.
Yeah, exactly. So to me, like, not that this is good for their values, but like, I don't think it's the worst thing in the world because what Prescott's going to lack in, throwing ability and, quarterback poise, quarterback efficiency, that sort of thing. He's kind of going to make up for it in just not giving a shit about like turning the ball over, and will likely lead to some fantasy production there. So I don't think it hurts their wide receivers too much. On that side of the ball as well, Zeke looked great, obviously. Morris looked good while he was in there. He'll have a bit of a role, but Zeke's the dude there.
Yes. And now even more so with Dak coming in, they're going to want to run the ball a shit ton. So yeah, Zeke just gets more and more appealing, and I keep kind of trying to talk myself in and out of it, like on a daily basis.
Dude, I'm getting to the point where like in like the mid to late, like I've been saying all year, like I'm taking a wide receiver in the first round, but like late first round, if there's some of those running backs there, I'm starting to get a little antsy with it. So
dude, even at like 5 and 6, like David Johnson, Todd Gurley, Zeke, they're all very, very interesting picks.
Yeah, no, absolutely. It's for sure very interesting. On the Seahawks side of the ball, we saw Christian Michael continue to run the ball pretty efficiently. Most of his big runs were in the second quarter against sort of the second string defense, but what can you really do there? The big takeaway for me was Tyler Lockett can't be drafted where he's being drafted.
Very good point. He's just, it's like you have here on the thing, like he's behind curse in like every sense of the word. Like it's just he's not seeing enough of the field.
So if you look at their snap count with Russell Wilson on there, or with Russell Wilson in, it was Baldwin 31, Curse 29, Lockett 15, and Paul Richardson, I believe, got double figures there. The entire second series in three wide receiver sets, Paul Richardson was out there with Curse and Baldwin instead of Tyler Lockett. I still think Tyler Lockett is very good. I think he's very talented. I think they're going to use him in some interesting ways to create plays. I don't think the usage is going to be there for him to be a consistent every week starter. And he's currently being drafted in the sixth round. So the end of the sixth round, right after Emmanuel Sanders and right before John Brown and Michael Crabtree. If you take Tyler Lockett before Michael Crabtree, you are making a gigantic mistake.
Absolutely. Couldn't have said it better.
Anything else there with that game, or are you cool on that?
Yeah, I just wanted this, since like Dak has been ripping it up, he's like getting drafted and shit. Please don't do that. Like you could pick him up as a waiver wire thing if it starts happening, but please don't draft him.
Yeah, I mean, like if you're gonna take him like 14th round, like just because it's like fuck it, I'll take Dak Prescott. Like there's the running abilities there. Like I get the appeal, but you're taking a rookie quarterback on a team that's gonna run the ball a ton and try and play really slow. So yeah, the very good point there.
With a really deep like quarterback is so deep. You don't need to do that to yourself.
Yeah, no, there's really no need. I'll allow it if it's like an I'm drunk like 14th round pick. That's sort of where I think it's acceptable. Um, all right, Patriots Panthers. The big takeaway that I took from this game on the Panthers side was that before, like I was talking about the Dolphins as a team that's lots of 3-step drops, get the ball out of Tannehill's hands real quick. The Panthers are not that. The Panthers are trying to get routes that take a little while to develop, and they're trying to throw the ball downfield. The wide receiver snap counts for this game were interesting. So first string wide receiver snaps, out of 46 snaps with Cam, Ted Ginn had 41, Kelvin Benjamin had 34, Devin Funchess had 25, and then Brenton Burson was in there behind there. But Ted Ginn leading them in snaps.
Draft Ted Ginn. It needs to start happening. Like, does he still have no ADP? Which that's just unacceptable at this point. Draft Ted Ginn. He still has some value for whatever reason.
He's got a 14th round ADP right now, and I think
that's ridiculous.
Like he's going in between Laquan Treadwell and Dorial Green Beckham. So
unbelievable.
Yeah. I think you should probably be drafting Ted Ginn above both those guys.
At that value, there's no reason not to do that, like whatsoever.
Yeah, no, definitely. And again, more concern for Benjamin really for me at his draft slot.
And Funchess too.
Funchess to me, I don't know. I'm holding out hope with him, but I think I'm irrational on that one. I think I'm making like, poor decisions with my Funchess love. On the running back side of the ball, Stewart, is Stewart. He's fine. Tolbert came in on some third downs. And then on the Patriots side of the ball, Tyler Gaffney started the game at running back ahead of LeGarrette Blount. He didn't end up playing more snaps than Blount, but he started, and he actually looked good running the ball. Is Gaffney draftable? Does it make you not want Blount? Like, what's the situation here?
I'm going to stay away from the whole situation. It's Bill Belichick and the Patriot running back core. Like, of course Gaffney started and didn't out-snap Blount. Like, that's what's going to happen all the time. But if there's anyone to draft in that backfield, it's definitely White.
Yes, I agree with that. It's James White in PPR. He had 13 snaps, which was actually the most out of the running backs with the first-team offense. He was in for all third downs. He was in for the 2-minute drill. So he's in all pass-catching situations. I believe last year going down the stretch when Dion Lewis was out and like White had a role, he was averaging something like 5 catches a game. Like in PPR, if you can get a running back with 5 catches a game, that's probably worth it. Like, he's probably going to get up to at least like 8 or 9 points on the catches and the yardage. So that's not like a bad fill-in or a bad option there. Plus there's some upside. Bills at Redskins. This one was fun for me because, well, not really, actually. I shouldn't say that, but I got really pumped because Niles Paul was seeing the field a lot in this game.
I forgot you love Niles Paul.
Yeah, no, I really like Niles Paul. I think he's really good. And so the thing is, I don't know if it's legitimate because Jamison Crowder was out for this game. And I think with Jamison Crowder healthy, they're going to try and have him in the slot a lot more. But in this game, they ran a lot of 2 tight end. They had Paul and Jordan Reed on the field at the same time. That to me seems like, it seems good. Like I think that's pretty like a solid usage for them. Mm-hmm. Continues to make me believe that Kirk Cousins is the guy to own in that offense because I don't know who's going to really be catching the passes week to week, but I know Kirk Cousins is going to be throwing them, and I can get him pretty late.
Yeah, very fair. Yeah, we've been talking up Kirk Cousins pretty much, I think, all season. So I'm excited to see who gets him in our draft. I think it's going to be really funny when he gets taken.
Yeah, I think a lot of people are going to be mad.
I'm thinking like it's going to knock down to like the 10th or something, and we're all just going to look at each other like it's Kirk Cousins time. Like someone or some asshole is going to take him in the 8th, and no one's going to care anymore.
Yeah. If he goes that early, I'm not gonna be mad at all. But
yeah, exactly. So it's either going to be game time in the 10th or like very concerning for someone's team in the 8th.
Yeah, it's worth noting here. Keith Marshall got hurt in the game. He's one of the backup running backs there. He's likely headed to the IR according to the rumors today. Rob Kelly, the undrafted free agent running back out of Tulane, started in this game and likely will be a starter if Matt Jones is hurt. Chris Thompson will still get passing work, but Rob Kelly is going to be the guy who starts on this team if Matt Jones is hurt, which he currently is. They say he's on track for week 1, but you never really know. Is Rob Kelly like a flyer for you at all, or still don't care there?
I will not care about that, but we'll monitor it. Like if Matt Jones doesn't start week 1, definitely he's going to be a waiver wire pickup for sure early on.
Fair enough. I think that's a good call there. On the Bills side of the ball, like they didn't play McCoy, they didn't play Gillislee. Reggie Bush started the game, and then Jonathan Williams was the next running back in. Nothing really happened on offense for the Bills. Tyrod Taylor got under pressure, to be honest, and took a couple of hits. Nothing really of note at all for the Bills in that game. So let's move on.
Yeah.
Browns at Buccaneers. This game was fucking fun to watch. Because for a couple of reasons. The Browns defense is bad. And then a combination of that and Jameis and that offense looks good. They look very, very good. And I know it's easy to get pumped on them against the Browns defense, but I am very excited.
Dude, Jameis Winston, like, I'm cool with him if he's my number 1 quarterback going into like week 1. I don't care. Like, he's so good and has an awesome floor. Like, he didn't score less than, I think, 12 or 13 points like the entire season last year. That's an unbelievable floor, and you're getting him so late, like way late. So yeah. I'm all about Winston.
Yeah, absolutely. He's a great late round target. It's just I don't understand why he's not being drafted higher or just like some of the guys going ahead. I just don't get it. But
it's just not sexy. That's all.
Okay, that's fair. Basically, Jackson and Evans were both heavily targeted, which makes me like kind of like Vincent Jackson a little bit because he's going very late. He got a lot of early targets in that game. They both looked good. They were both catching the ball well. Evans had a touchdown. That was nice. ASJ was running with the starters. I'm still going to stay away from that whole tight end situation, I think. And then in terms of the running backs, Martin was in for the first series and a half or so, and then Sims came in after. Sims got a touchdown. He seems to be used a lot in the passing game. I think I like Sims at his ADP. Martin, I'm fine with. It's just you're paying a lot for a running back that's going to get 50% snaps there, which is a little bit tough for me. But again, I understand why people like him.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
All right. The other guy I wanted to talk about on the Bucs was Adam Humphries, who is their third wide receiver. He's currently their slot receiver. He's also their punt returner. He had a couple nice catches and he had a punt return for a touchdown. The reason I wanted to talk about him is because I think in daily fantasy, he's going to be an interesting sort of like low cost play on certain weeks in tournaments where, potentially they're playing a team that gives up a lot of catches to slot receivers. And then also he has the chance to break open the game with a punt return. So just a guy to keep an eye on, not necessarily a guy to target in season long leagues. The Browns, the running back situation is not what we thought. What are you thinking about Crowell and Duke here? Because right now Crowell is out snapping him even on third down.
Yeah, I've been starting to catch on to the Crowell train because he's going super late. Like, I don't know if it was like the cop drawing thing that like turned people off on him.
It definitely was.
I think so because he's a shitty person. But in fantasy, he's going really late, and I'll be a piece of shit and take him like really late because he's going to return that value like a lot, and they're going to run the ball, and like Duke Johnson's going to be involved in the pass game. They're going to be down a lot, but he's not a running back one in fantasy, but he's their number one running back, and he's going to get work. So it's something to think about on draft day, especially if you're doing the whole zero RB thing. And he's going to return a lot of value for you.
Yeah,
Let me see where he's getting drafted.
It's very late, and I mean, just like he's out snapping Duke Johnson, and I know that Duke is Duke is going to have the pass game for most of it, but the guy who's out snapping Duke Johnson, who's being taken in the 5th round, is currently going in 10th round. In 12 team
second
PPR.
pick in the 10th round, running back 44.
Yeah, at that point, he seems like a pretty obvious value. So just keep an eye on that situation. The Browns' D was awful in this game. Their passing game was mildly interesting. Barnidge got targeted a lot early. He continues to be my guy. In terms of the wide receivers, Josh Gordon had that touchdown. I continue to think Terrell Pryor is the guy to draft there because he's going the latest.
Yeah, I think I'm with you on that. I think I drafted him in the league we were talking about earlier too.
Yeah, it's just a simple matter of we don't really know where the points are going to go. So in those sorts of situations, I like to take the guy who's the cheapest. It's generally a decent strategy.
Yeah, and RG3 is not looking so bad. Like he's looking pretty decent.
Dude, he's going to take a shitload of hits this year though, because that O-line sucks.
Yeah, he will, but
like there's a decent they were talking about today. I saw some rumors of the Browns were willing to shop McCown to the Vikings because Teddy got hurt. And I was like,
see that.
I don't know if that's a good idea because there's I would be very surprised if RG3 plays 16 games this year.
That's actually a really good point because he's under pressure every snap pretty much, running for his life. Very similar to Luck, who we'll be talking about later. But
but the difference is Luck is a gigantic person and RG3 is rail thin. True. So, yeah, I don't know. It'll be interesting to see. Steelers Saints. Steelers wide receivers, not what we thought they were going to be. Sammy Coates out of the mix. Eli Rogers is the new slot wide receiver. Does he move the needle for you? And then let's paint with a broader brush here. Broader brush strokes. Is that the correct colloquialism? I'm not really sure.
Yep. Yeah, you got it.
Yeah, whatever. It was close enough.
Broad strokes.
Yeah, broad strokes. So is the fact that, with Green out now, their starting wide receiver core is Brown, Wheaton, and Eli Rogers. Are you dropping Roethlisberger down?
Oh, yeah. I kind of dropped him after Martavis was out, too. So, because I knew it would kind of be a mess. It went down after the suspension, then up with Ladarius Green coming over, but then back down with him going on the PUP list. So, yeah, I'm knocking down Roethlisberger. And I think if you're going to take a flyer on anybody in that offense, I think it's Wheaton.
I actually agree with you 100%. I think Wheaton's a very interesting guy to draft. Just because he has to get targets, right?
Yeah, exactly. And he's been there the longest, I think, out of most everybody. Sammy Coates has completely dropped the ball, figuratively and literally. So it's going to be Wheaton there. So he's going to have value. He's going to see some targets and shit, and it's going to happen. And where is he getting drafted? 10th wide receiver 49 towards the back end of the 10th. So it's way worth the flyer.
Yeah, I agree. I also wouldn't be I don't think an Eli Rogers flyer super late round is out of the question.
I guess bigger 12 team and up. I just think it's risky.
Yeah, I mean, there's no real reason to do it in a 10-team league, but if you're muddling around over there and you're man, all right, Eli Rogers, there we go.
Sure.
Also, just don't draft him, I don't think, but keep an eye on Jesse James as a potential waiver wire type guy for tight ends once tight end inevitably falls apart. Let's talk about the Saints. Why is CJ Spiller out snapping Mark Ingram with the first team? Is that a preseason hoax?
Yeah, they feel bad for him and they want him to see the field to make sure he can do something. Ingram is still fucking sweet.
I'm not as sure that it's a complete hoax, but I think Ingram's still, as you said, fucking sweet. He actually outsnapped him 12-10. I don't know whether that's going to be a continued trend or whether that's kind of let's see what Spiller can do. I also thought it was interesting because a lot of teams, when they're splitting up running back carries, it's kind of like this guy gets a couple plays and then this guy gets a couple plays, or like this guy gets a series and then this guy gets a series. Theirs was literally like Ingram's in for 1 play, Spiller's in for 2. Now Ingram's in for 2. Now Spiller's in for 1. It was very back and forth. They tended to use, like, both of them were effective, even running between the tackles for Spiller. So it's an interesting thing that's happening there. But I'm still high on Ingram, and I'm also willing to put a flyer on Spiller now.
No to Spiller.
No to Spiller. Okay.
No, I'm not. I just can't do that. Like, I can't even talk about that shit again.
I'm falling right back in the trap, man. It's a hole in the ground covered with leaves and sticks, and I am stepping on it. So I'll see you at the bottom of that tunnel. There'll be a guy lowering a basket and telling me it puts the lotion on the skin. Saints wide receivers, that's something we need to talk about too. Brandon Cooks, 24 snaps with Breeze. Mike Thomas, 23 snaps with Breeze. Willie Snead, 17. Why is Willie Snead the third receiver here? Is that a preseason hoax or is that for real?
I think it's also another hoax, Walsh. I got to see through the Saints bullshit right now. Snead is still very, very good, and he's going to catch a shitload of balls. They want to see what Thomas is all about.
Snead had 4 catches that were like he looked really like he had a touchdown in that game. That was a really nice touchdown catch. It was like I read about the snaps before I watched the game, and I was like, oh no, Michael Thomas is out snapping him. And then I watched the game, and I was like, wow, Willie Snead had a great game. So I'm not sure that I'm downgrading Snead yet. I'm not sure that I'm upgrading Thomas. I'm really just not really sure in that situation, and I'll let you guys know when I am sure, but it's not right now.
Yeah. They're also going about 2 rounds apart. It's Snead in like the 8th range, and then Thomas like in the late 10th flyer zone. So you're not really risking too much on either, and I think Snead has far bigger upside as a guy that was with Breeze last year, and isn't a rookie and is going to see a lot of passes.
Okay, that's fair. Kobe Fleener, used short. He was also used in the seam. I believe he dropped the pass in the seam. Are we still where we were on Kobe Fleener?
Are you still where you were on Kobe Fleener?
Nah, I'm kind of cooling on. I don't know. I have so much trouble like putting his value somewhere. I don't know, man.
If like you're gonna wait on tight end anyway, I'm assuming, like, not just you, but like most people, that if it's going to be like we were just talking about Cousins, like if he goes earlier than you want him to, just like fuck it, like it doesn't matter.
Yeah, that's a good way to look at it. Fleener, like, he's going to have so much opportunity, and I just don't think he's that good. That's the thing. So
that's what I was saying. You didn't believe me last time. I was just like, Fleener's not that good.
No, you're right. He is going to have so much opportunity, though. Ah, shit. I'm doing it again. All right. You know what? Let's stop talking about the Saints. Let's go. Let's take a break. Let's hear from our sponsor, Noah Halftime, and we'll be back with the rest of the games from week 3 of the preseason. All right, guys, that was our sponsor, Noah Halftime. Definitely make sure you check them out this year. Download the app, sign up with that promo code LTFF, and get moving on there. Let's talk about the Packers and the 49ers. This was the one game I couldn't watch because for whatever reason, NFL Game Pass only had the audio of it. Like, I'm not going to listen to it on the radio and be like, damn, Jared Cook sounds good. But, dude, Jared Cook sounds good. He was in on 75% of the snaps with Rodgers. Is it time to start believing in Jared Cook?
Yeah, you can believe in Jared Cook, but it's –
Are you telling me that to, like, appease me, or are you telling me that because it's true?
Dude, I would never bullshit on Jared Cook. I love Jared Cook. He did some pretty cool things for me in the past. But
that's true.
That being said, I'm not going out of my way. Like, Jared Cook's going to come to me. Like, I'm not going to go get Jared Cook. He is going to work to me. Like, it's if you're late on tight end, they start going, everybody's got a tight end. Jared Cook's probably going to be there super late. So kick your feet up and take Jared Cook like in the 14th round.
Okay. Yeah, I'm starting to buy Jared Cook as a late round tight end you can take in sort of like that Dwayne Allen range,
Mm-hmm.
um, where guys start getting less of a sure thing and more of you're just kind of buying upside with a little bit of risk. We're still not sure who the Packers' third wide receiver is. I think Devontae Adams led them in snaps in terms of that with the starters. Jeff Janis didn't see the field with it, so the Jeff Janis dream is over for now. Uh, do we care? Is it possible Jared Cook takes like that role of the third pass catcher?
Oh, Jesus Christ. That would be nice, but that's not something I'm going to like invest in. So I'm going to say no for now and just kind of just back up.
Okay, fair enough. We're not really going for any of them. I think that's a good call. Torrey Smith on the 49ers has like one target this entire preseason, or I think it's one catch. Um, Basically been invisible. Blaine Gabbert's never been good at throwing down the field. You said you thought Torrey Smith would be nice with Bruce Ellington out. I'm going to
Yeah.
say no.
Still no. Like he's the
He's
number
not going
one
to take
option
over
there.
those short routes, though. I think
Who
Quentin
cares?
Patton has a better chance of being good this year than Torrey Smith.
Oh, can we make a bet on that?
Can you give me odds?
Sure, man. what kind of odds do you want?
You know
You
what?
can
No, screw it.
make your own odds. I'm just gonna say Torrey Smith has a better season than fucking Quentin Patton.
I say we bet an 18 pack to a 12 pack. So if you're betting,
Okay. All right. Yeah. That's all right. I'll give you an 18.
I get an
I'll give you a
18
20.
pack.
I'll give you a 24, Walsh. Don't.
No, I don't want 2-1. I want
I'm
one.
not
and a
gonna
half
find
to
some
one.
sleazy ass place that has like the extended platinum thing, and I'm gonna give you 18 beers of platinum. I don't want to do that.
I don't want platinum. Why would I want platinum?
What other scumbag beer comes in an 18 pack?
All kinds of beers, dude. What do you live under a rock?
What do you want in an 18 pack?
I don't know, man.
Exactly.
All right, we'll figure this out off air. But the point is, we're betting on Quentin Patton versus Torrey Smith, and that is gross.
Well, look at it this way: they're both Quentin Patton does guaranteed has no ADP. Torrey Smith is the 50th wide receiver taken in the 11th round. Like, fucking throw it up. He's
That's
like whatever.
That's a good point. You might as well just you're investing not much or nothing for a chance at a lot of usage. So
Yeah.
that's really what you're looking at there. Does the Bruce Ellington thing like open it up for anyone else? Do you think? Like, I don't really know what to make of that. I'm kind of waiting to see what.
Obviously, Quentin Patton.
Yeah, definitely Quentin Patton. Geez, that's like one of. We should just delete that from the podcast. That was a terrible segment. Let's move on from this game. Talk about the Chiefs and the Bears. This game sucked. I was texting you because I was getting mad because Andy Reid kept punting and kicking field goals on 4th and short in his opponent's territory in the preseason. Andy, just go for it. But anyway, this game wasn't fun to watch. The Bears offense looked very bad. Langford got almost all of the running back 1 snaps. That's good. Alshon didn't look sharp. Kevin White was non-existent. Zach Miller got a little bit of targets there. On the Chiefs side, Spencer Ware looked very good. He played basically the whole first half. And then Chris Conley looked like a serviceable wide receiver too. Jeremy Maclin got some decent targets. And in general, Alex Smith spread the ball around. Pretty status quo on that game.
Yeah, I think Alex Smith was up to his old shit where he hit like 11 out of 12 passes to like 10 different receivers. So
I know for sure the first 6 passes were to 6 different receivers.
Okay, yeah, mine might have been a little exaggerated, but you get the point. Alex Smith is going to throw it around. The only sure thing there is probably Jerry Maclin and then Travis Kelce below him.
Yeah, exactly. Let's move on to Lions at Ravens. I was watching this one closely for the Lions because outside of Ebron, they basically have their whole first team offense healthy. As expected, the 3 wide receiver sets were Tate, Bolden, and Jones. The 2 wide receiver sets were Tate and Jones. I'm still loving Marvin Jones. I know he's increasing in ADP, but it's something that I guess we're dealing with at this point.
Yeah, I mean, me and Shrek were talking about it. It's like completely justified jump in ADP. Probably one of the more justified ADP jumps, but now you're just gonna have to pay up for him, and it's just all if you want to do that or not.
Yeah, he's cheap as hell in daily week 1 too. If you're not playing him in your cash games, I think you're wrong. But
Ooh.
they play the Colts. So so like
Oh my god,
why wouldn't you play Marvin Jones for like cheap as hell on in daily week 1 against the
that
Colts?
might be that play where it's like too good that everybody realized it and everyone's gonna do it. So you might want to
Yeah,
do something.
no, definitely everyone's going to do it, but it is what it is.
Uh-huh.
An interesting thing too was I thought on the first couple of series, Amir Abdullah stayed in for the third downs, so they didn't sub out to Theo Riddick right away. Theo Riddick got carries and catches later on in the game, but right off the bat, it was Amir Abdullah from the beginning. He's a guy I've been ending up with a lot actually. Are you like? Is the upside there, or am I just kind of is it fool's gold and I'm getting fooled into it?
Well, for your strategy, like it's perfect for you because you're loading up early on wide receivers and then taking, lottery tickets on some running backs, and he's right in the middle there where you're like loading up on him. And I think it's perfect. Like he's gonna get the work with the first team, like at least start the game. So and then if he's in on some third downs, that's just icing on the cake there, Walsh.
Icing on the cake. All right, let's talk about the Ravens. I didn't really glean anything from this. As we said before, Watson and Dixon got hurt. Forsett was the starter. I'm still not drafting him because apparently I'm for whatever reason I'm buying into the Terrence West hype as potentially real.
Yeah.
Mike Wallace got targeted a lot, but Steve Smith and Brashad Perryman didn't play. Other than that, I don't know if there's really anything to say here about the Ravens.
Yeah, they continue to be really confusing and just probably not going to know too much till like week 1 and beyond, which sucks.
Yeah, definitely sucks. Eagles at Colts. This was interesting. The first thing I wrote here, and I spelled the word awful wrong, but the Colts O-line and defense are both awful. They are absolutely terrible. The Colts are going to be playing from behind and not going to be able to run the ball for shit. Andrew Luck is going to throw the ball 800 times a game. What does that mean though for fantasy production? Are they undervalued? Are they, what in terms of the passing game, is this something where you're looking at Hilton and Moncrief and saying this is good or bad?
It sucks. My answer sucks, but it's both. It's like good and bad because it's good because one, that everybody is going to get on the offense is going to get more snaps, more looks, more like everything. But the bad part is people are going to get fucking hurt on this team. Like the more balls the wide receivers catch, they're going to get smacked. We were talking about the O-line is atrocious. Andrew Luck is going to be attacked every game. And the more like he's just going to be on his back most of the time. So it's going to be a little concerning for those dudes' health and their longevity for the entire season. So like they might do good for like the first half of the season and then just wear the fuck down because they're going to have to fight every single game.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's bad for efficiency, good for opportunity. So we'll see how that plays out in the end. The Colts did run a decent amount of 3 wide receiver. About 2/3 of their snaps were with 3 wide receivers. Philip Dorsett was the 3rd wide receiver. No other wide receiver saw the field with Andrew Luck on the field. So that pretty much sums up the Colts there. Also, we mentioned they signed Ridley. None of their backup running backs are good investments at this point.
No.
For the Eagles, Zach Ertz, his snaps kind of went back to normal. He was in for, I believe, 32 of the 34 Stan Bradford snaps. That's encouraging. But the Eagles just, I don't know what to make of their offense. Ryan Matthews looked okay. Their wide receivers looked garbage, except for Josh Huff, weirdly enough. They just cut Chris Givens and Ruben Randall. And then DGB didn't play at all in between the 20s, but he got a touchdown and he got a red zone target before that too. So it's possible that like we're looking at Ertz, but then DGB might steal a red zone target or that kind of thing. I don't know. It's difficult to really figure out what's going on here.
Yeah, that's all very confusing. It's almost as confusing as the Ravens.
Yes, absolutely. I think if I'm investing in anyone there, I guess it's Ertz.
I was gonna
Um,
say Ryan Matthews. I think he's had a pretty decent preseason.
I'm like weirdly coming around on Jordan Matthews too, because I'm like my thinking is like who the hell else is going to catch passes because Aguilar sucks, and so do the
Okay.
rest of their wide receivers. So like I don't know. I'm having a tough time really figuring that out, but we'll see. All right, let's move on to the Giants and the Jets. This game was also very unentertaining to watch. The Giants offense did their annual like preseason, just we're going to do nothing at all. Um, Vereen got 14 snaps, Jennings got 13, and Orleans Darkwood got 3. No Andre Williams, that's nice.
Yay.
But is there reason to invest in any of those? Vereen, maybe, right? Am I
Yeah, I
crazy?
mean, I like Jennings late too, and he hasn't really changed much in terms of ADP. So I like Jennings late, and I like Vereen as a
Vereen's going in the
decent,
13th round.
yeah, like a nice pass catching flyer. It's okay. Like it's not expensive. It's just like a little upside pick there late.
Yeah, absolutely. Um, so the other interesting thing there, I suppose, for the Giants was Victor Cruz played. He was on the field. He caught one pass. He got targeted twice. Um, maybe makes me a little more lukewarm on Sterling Shepard, but doesn't really move the needle for me.
Yeah, that's kind of whatever. I would leave Sterling Shepard where he's at.
Okay. And then in terms of the Jets, it was difficult to really glean anything in their offense. Decker got targeted a couple times, but Fitzpatrick missed him. The one thing I noticed was Bilal Powell was in on every third down and a couple of not third downs. So, and the occasional first down, just like this give Forte a breather type of thing. I continue to think Bilal Powell is one of the best, mid to late round running backs to target in the draft, and think Forte is overvalued where he is going.
Yeah, for sure. He's like Charles Sims.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, let's move on from there. We got a couple more games to get through, and then we'll call it a night. 4 more specifically. Oh no, 5 more. All right, let's run through these. So Titans at Raiders. The Titans look good. Is this just a preseason thing?
I don't know. I mean, they look great. Like it could just be a preseason thing, but I'm definitely buying into it. I might be a sucker, but I love the run game. I like Tajay Sharp. I'm coming around to that. Yeah, I mean, I'm buying into it. I just don't like Marcus Mariota maybe as much as people have been liking him.
Yeah, I'm a little down on Mariota compared to most, but I'm starting to buy into DeMarco Murray because
Hell
he was
yeah.
in for the entirety of the first 3 series, and then they went to Henry with like some Murray mixed in. Um, I think Murray's going to be like the clear lead back there. I know people are talking like Henry's looked great and everything, but I don't know if he's going to be able to get DeMarco Murray off the field. He's a veteran. We know he's good. We know he was misused last year. If DeMarco Murray returns to form, like all of a sudden he's something, and he's in the 4th round right now.
Welcome back, Walsh. It's good to have you.
I'm there, man. I'm right there. I've been away all off season, and I am back. It feels really good to love Murray again because that
Yeah,
year that
man.
he broke out, like I was all over him. I don't know if you remember that. I was
I
like
do.
over, yeah. I was saying he should be like an early 1st round pick the entire off season, and then he broke out, and oh man, it feels good to be back. All right. The Titans receivers, heavy mix of formation, some shotgun, some under center. Rashard Matthews played fewer snaps than Andre Johnson and Harry Douglas. That has to be like a preseason, like we want to see what these guys got, right? Rashard Matthews is going to be the starter.
Yes, I believe so. I think they just wanted Tajay Sharp out there and those other 2 guys that you were saying, like Andre Johnson, like whatever. So yeah, they're out there to get some work in, and yeah, 1 and 2, Tajay Sharp, Rashard Matthews. But the only thing is, with these 2 going forward, they're not going to get a lot of targets, so they have very limited ceilings.
Yeah, I agree. I think the Titans aren't going to throw the ball too much during games. So while I like Sharp and I like Matthews, I think I'm not going to be going out of my way to target them. On the Raiders side, the running back situation was weird. Del Rio said he wanted to see how DeAndre Washington and then Jalen Richard looked. they both looked pretty good, to be honest. And Latavius didn't get much work. Are you worried at all about Latavius because his draft position has been climbing recently? I believe he's up to the 3rd round.
First pick in the 4th.
First pick in the 4th. Okay. Does that worry you about Latavius that maybe he's on a shorter leash than we thought he was?
I hope not. I really like him. I really do. But yeah, I mean, I think his draft price is still okay. I think it's right where it should be.
Okay. All right. Yeah. I mean, I was like getting more and more bullish on Latavius, and now I'm kind of fading away there. But we'll see what happens. In other news, Amari Cooper is very, very good, and he's going to continue to be good this year. I wouldn't be surprised if he beats Crabtree out in targets and is a top 15, top 12 wide receiver where he's being drafted right now. I continue to like Amari Cooper.
Yeah.
Anything else on that game?
No. It's Marco Murray rules.
Yeah, I guess so. All right, Rams at Broncos. Trevor Siemian, he is the starter. I thought he did a good job of feeding Demaryius and Emmanuel Sanders in there. I didn't see any reason to think their value would go down from where I'm currently valuing them based on him starting.
Absolutely. And he dropped an absolute dime to Thomas where I was like, oh my God, yes. And then there's always like everyone's devaluing Sanders and Thomas, and they're going to be fine.
Yeah, I agree. I think they're going to be fine. I think they're going to be nice values. CJ Anderson is the guy. He left the game for a little bit for Devontae Booker because of getting stitches after a cut. And then he came back and he helped him out on a touchdown drive. So whatever. CJ Anderson continues to be a good value where he's going. The question that I have here is Virgil Green in the tight end roulette mix? Because I think it's interesting. He's on the field every play, basically. So, you would think he has to get targets, right?
I think so. And, Simeon's looking for him. And he got that nice touchdown there to cap off the drive. That's what you look for with tight ends. I think he had, 4 or 5 catches, moderate yardage, and that touchdown. That's what you're looking for. So, if Virgil Green, puts a good game. I don't think he should be drafted, but definitely look for, if your tight end bust or something, Virgil Green could be around for the waivers.
Yeah, I think he'll be definitely a guy who appears, as a streamer at the very least this year.
Yes.
The Rams didn't have Gurley. They spread the ball out and tried to throw it a lot. Lance Kendricks got targeted a lot, which was interesting. I don't think there's any way we can take anything from that game from the Rams because Gurley wasn't in and Gurley's their entire offense.
Yes, very well put.
All right, Chargers-Vikings. This is another one. It's tough because Teddy just got hurt. Diggs looked great with him. He was targeted a lot underneath, and he looked like a guy who could potentially exceed value where he's going. Also worth noting, Treadwell is not a starter. Charles Johnson is the number 2. Adam Thielen is the number 3. Treadwell is behind both of them. McKinnon also looked good, but that doesn't really matter too much because AP is going to start. Anything on the Vikings for you there?
No, that's fine. I haven't. I know we're running short on time, but interesting question about how much AP is going to get used now that Teddy Bridgewater's out. Does this bump McKinnon up for you?
I think it bumps both of them up for me.
Okay.
Because they were going to run the ball a lot anyway, but now they have to constantly, right?
Yeah.
They're just going to line the ball up and pound it, right?
Yeah, and I think McKinnon's going to start getting an increased workload just to spell Peterson and might we were talking about how McKinnon won't have standalone value and he's nothing more than a handcuff. He might have standalone value at some point this season.
You're on the McKinnon standalone team, even with AP healthy?
Possibly. I would need to I'm not gonna if I get Adrian Peterson, I might be more inclined to handcuff and see where it goes just to be sure, some kind of safety valve there. But I don't think I'm gonna go out of my way to get McKinnon, if that makes sense. If I don't have Peterson.
Yeah, no, that's fair. I've actually kind of ended up with McKinnon a lot recently just because I like him and he seems to land in my lap in a lot of places. But yeah, I'm down with that. On the Chargers side of the ball, Gordon and Woodhead was pretty much the split we expected. We still didn't see red zone snaps because they didn't get in the red zone. Gordon did break a long touchdown, Healthy Gordon can break long touchdowns. That's something we've learned this preseason. That's something we should have known from his college career. The wide receivers, Keenan Allen is obviously the number one. Dontrell Inman outsnapped Travis Benjamin with Phillip Rivers in there 13-7, and also Tyrell Williams got 5 snaps with Rivers. Are you worried about Travis Benjamin?
Slightly. I think maybe Inman is starting to work into the late round flyer conversation instead of Travis Benjamin.
Okay. I think that's fair. After watching that game, and obviously this is, like whatever from one game, my opinion is that they're going to be a bad team. But so maybe I don't really want their second wide receiver anyway, but yeah. I'm not sure there. I guess we'll see. I don't know if there's anything else really to go with there. Is there?
Oh, yeah. Hey, Don. James Jones just got cut like a bitch.
Oh, yeah. James Jones got cut. Nice. Suck it, Don. How about it?
Yeah, put that hoodie on now, you jerk.
Yeah, can we make that the intro, Shrek? You can cut that up and make that the intro. I'd appreciate it. I think Vinny would too. And Don
tie it up with a bow, please.
Don can definitely suck it. All right, so now that we've got James Jones getting cut out of the way, let's move on to our last 2 games. Cardinals at Texans. I thought Jalen Strong was going to be the second wide receiver, and it is not at all true. They're coming out there, they're running a ton of 3 wide receiver, and it's all Will Fuller and it's all Braxton Miller, and both of them look good.
Yeah. I think this offense is going to be like if they solidify Lamar Miller like we think they're going to, and Osweiler was extremely good against a very good Cardinals defense. So this was definitely what I think a lot of the Texans truthers needed to see, myself included.
Yeah, I'm like actually on board with like late round Fuller. I'm on board with late round Braxton Miller. I'm on board with late round Osweiler. I'm like all in on this offense, dude.
Okay.
Particularly week 1, I feel like they have a good matchup too, don't they?
Let me check.
I'm going to search it right now.
Texans. Sorry. Week 1.
It's versus the Bears. They have a great matchup.
Oh, Jesus Christ. They're going to kill them.
Week 1 Osweiler, actually isn't the worst start that you could make.
No, not at all. It's a good point.
It's going to be interesting. And if he kills it against the Bears, that's I don't know. It's interesting for sure. So keep an eye on all those guys. Lamar Miller wasn't great in this game. He got in the end zone, but we know Lamar Miller is going to be good this year. Cardinals side of the ball, David Johnson in for all of the first 2 series and just doing incredibly David Johnson things in this game. Looking real good. He's
really, really good and has now actually moved into the number 1 running back getting drafted. According to Let's Talk, Fantasy Football Calculator.
according to me and Vinny, he's the number 1 running back drafted.
According to a stat I just made up. But yeah, he's passed out Gurley, AP, Zeke. He is now officially number 1.
Yeah, I mean, the more I see it, the more I start to buy into it. I'm still a little worried about just Bruce Arians being we're going to give you a spell here in the red zone or that kind of thing. And all of a sudden Chris Johnson is getting 2 touchdowns in a game and you're like, fuck this. But everything that we hear, everything that we've seen has been good. So I think I'm finally on board with David Johnson, as a mid to late first round pick. I don't know about earlier than that. I don't know if I could do that, but mid to late first round, I can definitely do.
Yeah, it's got to be 6th pick or later for sure.
Fair enough. Cardinals pass game. I honestly, I didn't even take any notes on it. I don't remember anything what they looked like. I don't think it was really. I remember Darren Fells had a big catch, tight end, but that doesn't matter. That's really all I remember. So let's move on to the last game of the week. The Bengals at the Jaguars. I combined the 2 names.
Bang jars.
Bengal. No, that's not right. Bengals at Jaguars. Gio and Jeremy Hill were both just dominant. Gio looked great. He got fewer snaps than Jeremy Hill. Jeremy Hill, I believe, had 16 to Gio's 9. Let me make sure.
9 or 10, I believe.
Make sure that's correct. Yeah, so Gio had 9. Jeremy Hill had 16. Hill got all the red zone work. But Gio, this is a theme. Gio looked better. Gio looked great. They used him creatively. They lined him up as a wide receiver, and he got a touchdown on that play. They're both going to be usable this year, aren't they?
Yeah, it's going to be just like last year. Like Gio he looks better out there, and it's going to be the case. Like everyone drafting Gio, like he's not going to be the number 1 back unless Hill gets hurt. Like Hill is going to start the week every week, and he's going to get a chance to set the game pace. But Gio is always going to be involved, so don't worry about either of these guys.
Yeah, absolutely. I think they're both guys that I'm targeting at their current ADPs.
Yes.
AJ Green, bang knees with a defender. He should be fine. That's that's great news, obviously. This was also the first game that we didn't really see like a Tyler Boyd big play. So that'll probably slow the hype a little bit on him. He's still playing in the slot, even with AJ Green out in that game.
Well, Brandon Tate just got cut.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so it's going to have to be it's LaFell, Boyd, obviously AJ Green won. No, I think it's like going to be Alex Erickson.
Interesting.
I think he might take some slot work actually. He had a great preseason, and I think he's taking the punt return work. That's why they cut Brandon Tate.
Okay, fair enough. Are you still like LaFell and Boyd? I'm staying away from both. Are you?
Yeah. Unless it's like super late and it's Tyler Boyd, I'm not putting my hands on LaFell.
Yes. All right. On the Jags side of the ball, Yeldon getting targeted heavily, used heavily, and he was in the red zone for a little bit, which I'm sure would give Don a good feeling in his pants. I don't know. Anyway. He was used really heavily. He outsnapped Ivory 16-11. Yeldon, like the train keeps on rolling here, where Yeldon seems more and more like he's got the momentum in this backfield.
Yes, I agree. I think Ivory's going to do Ivory runs like a psychopath, dude, and it was very prevalent in this game. Like he was just like headbutting dudes, just like trying to get hurt. Like it was nuts. Like he just runs like a truck. And Yeldon did have a fumble, but they threw him right back in, and he was having like pass work, rushing work, and broke off big gains in all facets of the game. So Yeldon definitely looks good, and I believe is going later than Ivory right now.
Yes, he is. He is definitely going behind Ivory, so he's probably the guy you want to target in that backfield. In the passing game, it's kind of what we expected. They wanted to go after Julius Thomas. That's good to see. Allen Robinson and Allen Hurns both getting work. Obviously Robinson's going to be the guy. I'm a little less bullish on Hurns, but it is what it is. It's kind of standard at this point in the offseason.
You said it.
All right, man. I think that's going to do it for this podcast. I think we're just a little bit over an hour right now. So we're going to call it a day. I hope you guys got some good information out of this. I hope you guys learned a little bit about the usage that's been going on in the preseason. I hope you guys are on my side in the Quentin Patton, Torrey Smith bet.
I have forgot that we made that bet.
Jeez. What else do we need to say? I think we're going to try and get something up here Friday morning as well. And then Vinny and I are both on our way to Denver for our draft in our home league this weekend. That is the draft with Don, Shrek, and Rogers as well. My plan, I ran this by the group once earlier, and I don't know how we all feel about it. But my plan, because I'm staying in Denver for an entire week, so I gotta check a bag anyway. So I'm going to wrap my microphone up in a bunch of clothes to make sure it doesn't get damaged. And I'm going to stick it in my suitcase. And I want to record a live draft recap podcast with the five of us and potentially some cameos from the rest of the people in the league.
Whoa.
On Sunday after we
got
draft,
everybody.
When we're all just sitting there real hungover and don't really know what to do.
Yeah, that could be a real depressing podcast, but we should definitely try and do that.
Yeah, so keep an eye out for that, guys. I think Thursday we're going to try and record something, so that will be up Friday. And then we'll get we'll try and get a draft recap podcast up, and then next week we're hopping right into the week 1 preview, dude. It's here.
Yes.
We're gonna have that week 1 preview coming at you, and then we're gonna be coming at you guys twice a week again with the weekly recaps, the weekly previews. We'll have all of that going for you. So just keep an eye out. We appreciate you guys listening. Vinny, you got any other words for the loyal Let's Talk Fantasy Football listeners and potentially the unloyal ones?
To the unloyal ones. Even whatever, to everybody. I don't even know what I was going for there. Happy drafting, everybody. I sincerely hope you have an awesome draft. It's probably the best time of the year because you're probably at the pinnacle of happiness you're going to be all season, at least for me, because I usually wind up sucking.
Well, dude, that's the thing is every draft when you're done with it, you think it's great, or at least I do.
I think I'm amazing and I can't be stopped, and then week 1 I suck ass.
Exactly. So enjoy it while it lasts, guys. If you want to send like your drafts into us, let us know who you drafted. Let us know how you feel about it. We love to hear from you guys. And until the next time, I don't have a good close. I don't know what I was even going to say. Until the next time, that's it. Goodbye.